Hey guys, it's Stephanie. So today we're going to answer the question, do I need to fix every single darn little thing on that inspection report the buyer's inspector said needs to be addressed on my home? My home is perfect. What do I need to do? So we're going to answer that question. A lot of sellers get stressed about it. Have no fear. We got your back. I got you covered. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Press the notification bell, which will notify you anytime I upload a video. I do have a weekly show where I'm answering a real estate question a week. Feel free to DM me on Instagram at Stephanie Lindamood Real Estate if you want your question featured. I would love to feature your question. And go to StephanieLindamoodRealEstate.com. That's my website. If you want to check me out on my blog, theglamgirlboss.com, that's going to be where I have more fashion, beauty, health, wellness, productivity tips, all my travels. Head over there and we'll have some fun together. But let's get to that question about the inspection report, so stay tuned. All right, so we are in the active option period, which means you've got a contract on the home, so congratulations. And we have that pesky little inspection that needs to be done. Usually the inspection will be scheduled through the showing service, so you'll get a notification for a showing just like you regularly would. It's usually going to be 2 to 4 hours. Go ahead, vacate the home like you would for a showing, because a lot of times the agent and the buyer will show up for at least part of the inspection just to check it out. Then what's going to happen is the inspection happens. Usually takes a couple days for us to hear anything back. And then usually we just get a list of items that they want addressed. Sometimes we get the report. We don't ask for the report, just so you know, because from a strategy standpoint, in the event the buyer were to cancel their contract because the inspection was done within a certain period of time, we would have to disclose that to the new buyers. And I just really don't want to have to do that if we don't have to. Simply because we're all human. We're not trying to hide anything, but we're all human. So when an inspector goes into a home, yes, the majority of inspections are going to be very similar as far as the reports go, but there may be things that one inspector has a hot button about versus another one. So I just, generally speaking, like not to have to get the report and disclose it in the future if possible. If not, it is what it is. So we're going to get the report, we're going to get the list of things that they deem need to be addressed. We're going to kind of go through that, and we're going to use our experience, because we work with a lot of sellers, and we know what's legit, what's kind of questionable, and what's like, yeah, we're not doing this, like, go away kind of thing. Well, I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. Like, look, it's a pre-owned home, for crying out loud. So we're going to look at it and say, okay, are there any insurability items? Is there anything with the roof that needs to be addressed? Is there anything, do we have any leaks where there could be mold, or just things like that could be legitimate issues? Then we're going to look at any safety issues. So like, let's say there's a spark, a plug that sparks when the inspector plugs his little device in. Like stuff like that, that's more legitimate. If it's like, hey, you've got baseboard that needs to be touched up because maybe the dog chewed on it or something like that, we might be a little bit more like, you know what, the buyer saw that when they walked in. We're not going to be worrying about that unless it's a huge deal to the buyer. But then we have other things that we're going to be negotiating on. So it's all going to be dependent on what the list says. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to fix everything, if anything, but we're going to go through that. We're going to guide you on that, and then we're going to negotiate everything on your behalf. Generally speaking, if we have a list of items that we're agreeing to remedy, depending on what they are, if they're just cosmetic items, a lot of times we will recommend giving some kind of concession instead of, or in lieu of, having an actual contractor come out and make the repairs, simply because when you're selling a home and you have to get licensed contractors and then have them come out in a certain period of time and do the work and get receipts, it can be a little cumbersome. So a lot of times buyers are happy to just accept some sort of concession, whether it's a cash concession as far as reducing the price. Maybe you're going to be leaving the fridge, washer, dryer. So we're going to leverage that and negotiate that all on your behalf. But those are some options that we will go through. If it's something insurability item that needs to be addressed, like the roof, or if there's anything else going on with the home, then we may have to address that before you close on the home, and then that work would need to be done. And then we may have options on how to pay for that with the equity of the home or the net proceeds at closing, which we would then talk about that at that time. But as far as just generally speaking, stressing out about the inspection report, don't, because here's why. When we meet with you and I go through everything at the listing appointment, the big things, if they're evident, are going to be something we talk about at the appointment. And we're going to talk through them, and we're going to have a game plan. If it's something hidden that I couldn't have seen and the inspector picked up on, then we'll address that when we get to that point. But just know that no, you're selling a pre-owned home. Every little thing is not going to have to be addressed. It's just like when you trade a car in. Do you have to, if your seatbelt had a little rip on it, or if your floor mats were a little dingy and you shampooed them but you couldn't get them perfect, are they telling you, well, before you trade this in, you're going to have to get brand new floor mats and you're going to have to replace that seatbelt? No. They look at it and look at the condition and say, okay, based on this is what we're willing to offer you. The inspector is just kind of like that double check that from a mechanical standpoint, from an insurability standpoint, the home is in really good shape and there's no surprises for the buyer. So really that's how that acts in that regard. Otherwise, the buyer's seen the house. They know what they're getting themselves into. They understand the condition. So, and generally speaking, anything the buyer wanted in that regard would have come up when we started negotiating the contract before the option period started. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. Again, if you want your question featured on the show, don't forget to DM me. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.